Hiya, my name's David. I'm the Wandering Ponderer. I'm sitting down here on a bench at the market end. I'm facing the White Hart. I want to tell you something about this whole row here. About the fact that all down here could quite possibly have not existed in this day and age due to an event that happened in 1875. Let me walk you through it. On the 2nd of June 1875, workers in the gasworks down Gas Lane were going about their business and burning off coal tar in a furnace, and things started to get out of hand. According to Trevor Disley's book Fires, Firemen and Other Mishaps, on Wednesday the 2nd of June 1875, workers were using an open furnace to burn tar off one of the gas holders when a sudden gust of wind blew sparks onto the thatched roof of a range of cattle sheds which began to burn. The workers climbed onto the blazing roof and tried to stifle the flames, but one of the men slipped and fell badly, injuring himself. The cows and pigs from the sheds were freed, but there was great alarm about the closest gas holder, as the burning thatch was so hot that the tar covering the gas holder began to bubble and boil off. The holder was full of gas, and an explosion seemed almost certain. Just in the nick of time, it seemed, the engine arrived, but could not be quickly got to work, owing to the scarcity of water. It is true that there was very little water in the nearby back ditch, but there were also problems with the equipment. Efforts to use the engine were eventually abandoned, and the considerable crowd of people did the best they could, using pails of water, pulling off the burning straw and removing the timber and thatch not yet alight. Eventually, the efforts and perseverance started to tell, and the fire was brought under, and nearby premises and a slaughterhouse once under threat was saved. Most importantly, the gas holder did not explode. And this is once where the gasworks was. Abbey Field. This was the most scariest of events that could ever possibly happen. The proximity of gasometers to all the buildings around here made it exceptionally hazardous should they go up. Little did Coggeshall's residents around here know that they were living in the vicinity of one huge, enormous, explosive potential hazard. With the efforts of normal people and the fire brigade of that time, without using an engine, they got the fire under control. And disaster, massive disaster, the biggest disaster that could Coggeshall could ever have had was averted. The shock of the event gave rise to it being brought up in a meeting at the White Hart Hotel on the 7th of June. And it was mentioned in that meeting, and they had to organise having another meeting to actually discuss it further, which they did on the 10th of June. And the conclusion, other than the fact that they needed a dedicated fire department with a proper working dedicated engine, they also needed a supply of water to be ensured around every area of Coggeshall. And this was the conclusion that they came away with. That's it. That's the tale of a near disaster in Coggeshall. When you look at the overheads, as we've done in a previous video, and seen where the gasometers were, and looking at the map from the period, the 1875 map, you can see the sheds that were near those gasometers, and they had thatched roofs. There's a lot of thatching and wooden structures going on in those days, so the need for a fire brigade, if ever there was back then, but there's just as much a need as for a fire brigade in this day and age. The outcome of that meeting is that Coggeshall is still standing in this day and age, thankfully to the swift action of people, and in the years that have gone by since that event, the fire brigade's actions. We owe a lot to the emergency services of the day, really, to having Coggeshall still standing. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me this far. If you don't mind giving it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and I will see you in another video, which will be hopefully next week. Stay safe.